Today we're going to be coming into Modern Warfare Zombies and defeating the Red Worm completely solo here in Season 2 Reloaded, and we're bringing in two separate wonder weapons, and both of these have their job. We got the VR11, which is going to be for damaging the Red Worm, and then we're also bringing in that WAF, which is going to be for taking out the hordes of zombies. And guys, I gotta say, the end of this video was pretty crazy. You're going to want to see it. So with that, welcome on back to the channel, everybody. If y'all don't know, my name is Ghost. I appreciate everybody that stops by the video today. If you're into zombies content or anything Call of Duty, consider rocking that like button, man, and subscribing to the channel. We're so close to 15,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank everybody for all the insane support lately. When I first started this run, I initially wasn't even gonna do the Red Worm. My plans was to go straight into the Elder Dark Aether, but I figured since we spawned over here at H2, we might as well go into this building, which is gonna show us where all of our USB sticks are gonna be spawning. We brought in a VR11 with a flawless crystal, so you know what, I said, what the hell, let's go ahead and get this Red Worm done. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have the Scorchers, so we had to go around the old-fashioned way with vehicles and drive around and get all these things. Another thing you guys can do, which I do sometimes, is when you go to the location that's gonna show you where all the USBs are gonna be spawning, when you're looking at it, just take a quick screenshot, just in case you gotta pull that thing up for some reference. I can't tell you how many times that I've wandered around, like I've gotten all three of the USBs and I'm just missing that last one, and then I'm going, damn, where is that last spot again? And then I either end up driving or flying around looking for this thing, checking all the different spots, just ending up wasting a bunch of time. So if you can, just take a quick screenshot, that way you can pull that thing up. But we got all of our USBs and we got all of our upgrades. Now we just need to stop off at a buy station really quick, that way we can get some sentry guns, and I also need to buy a golden gas mask. I honestly almost forgot. Check this out, guys. I was standing out by the boss fight because I was waiting for the gas to come in, and I was up on top of this tower and I noticed all these zombies really far away, and I was actually able to hit them with the VR11. I was kind of surprised. And if you guys are ever looking for where the boss fight is going to be, wherever the Aether storm is, check right around the outer circle of it, and if you notice two ammo crates that are right next to each other, that's going to be where your boss fight is. So our Aether storm was finally moving, and they were covering up these Aether extractors, so it was time to insert our USBs. Now, even though we've done this several times and we do have some of the best weapons for the job, it still is definitely pretty nerve-wracking, guys. Now, while I am confident that we can get this thing done, this Red Worm can really surprise you and just immediately put you down sometimes. Whether that's if you get caught off guard running in front of him, I mean, he just insta-downs you with like his beam that he shoots off at you. He's got a chance of picking you up into his mouth and then spitting you out, and you'll hit the ground instantly and just go down. And yes, that's even with spamming your parachute. I had once he actually spat me out and I like hit a wall and I was just dead. But yeah, if he usually picks you up into his mouth after he spits you out, you're gonna want to spam that parachute button. And most of the time after he shoots you out, you're gonna be okay. I've had a time or two where it just happens so fast you can't do nothing. Another thing he can do is he actually slams his entire body into the ground. He actually ended up putting me down once in this run that way, which I think that was a first for me. I think I've only been put down by either being shot out of his mouth or by his beams. Now, most of the time, as long as you keep yourself moving in like that circular pattern, just kind of trying to train those zombies and just make sure that you do not stop moving, you should be okay from not hitting that beam. But it's definitely one of the things that I go down to the most, so it's kind of a do as I say, not as I do type thing. I know most of you guys already do this, but if you don't, be sure to bring in decoys when you do this, just so you can distract a lot of those zombies. You're going to be hitting those ammo crates a lot during this fight just to fix that gas mask, so you're going to be replenishing a lot of decoys, so let's get all of those zombies away from us. Definitely going to be making it a whole lot easier than just trying to clear these things out while you're trying to fight the Red Worm at the same time. Another thing you guys can be doing, like I said, you're going to be hitting those ammo stations, so don't worry about the ammo in your VR11. Be turning as many zombies as you can. I don't stay focused on the zombies. Your main focus should be on the Red Worm, but just every once in a while when you see a zombie that's close to you or whatever and you can easily turn it, go ahead and do so, because not only will these things be acting as another decoy to distract these zombies, but they'll also be clearing some of them out for you. As you guys can see here, we've only gotten in a few shots on the Red Worm so far, and quite a bit of his health is already gone. This VR11 is just nasty against these bosses. Now, of course, like right now, we have the flamethrower that's just probably the absolute best weapon in the game when it comes to destroying things like mega abominations or manglers, disciples, the stormcaller, stuff like that. But the very next up in line is definitely the VR11. What the VR11 does have above the flamethrower is that it takes down the Red Worm, or any worm for that matter. Doing this will get you the best stuff in the game, like I'm talking about the Scorcher schematic, the flawless crystal schematic, that legendary Aether tool schematic, and I would actually say having these is going to be more important than having those schematics out of either one of the Dark Aethers. Now, the reason why I say this, like, yes, I do believe that the Aether blade, the golden armor, maga holding, like, those are some of the best schematics that we can also get in the game, but the reason why I say, like, getting the legendary Aether tool and the flawless crystal is going to be some of the absolute most important is because these things are what's going to be making your weapons as powerful as they absolutely can be. Now, while the golden armor is incredibly nice and really useful, it's not going to be as useful if you can't take down the mega abominations because your weapons are too weak, or you can't take down other bosses because your weapons are too weak, or you struggle in the Dark Aether. It's going to be the same thing with like the Aether blade. While I think the Aether Blade is definitely one of the best schematics and one of the best acquisitions that you can get. Throw that thing at a Mega Abomination 50 times and tell me what happens. I think my point is that if you're missing a bunch of schematics still, like you're missing a bunch of the Dark Aether ones and you're missing some of the Red Worm ones, I would make the Red Worm schematics more of your priority. 'Cause I'm telling you, once you get your hand on that legendary Aether tool and you get your hands on some flawless crystals, man, doing stuff like the Dark Aether and going into Red Zone and stuff like that is all gonna make itself way easier on you. And while most of the schematics or most of like the legendary schematics all have like a 3-day cooldown timer, the legendary Aether tool is only 24 hours, so it's not that bad on farming these things up if you absolutely wanted to. There's actually been quite a few days where I wasn't even planning on playing any Modern Warfare Zombies for the day, and I just hop on, turn on the game for 2 minutes, craft my legendary Aether tool, throw it in my backpack, and hop off. You know, just go do whatever else that I was gonna do for the day and just keep stacking these things up. And the epic and rare Aether tools are really not that bad either, guys, so if you want to just use these things while you save your legendary Aether tools, you can do that too. Coming up here, you guys are gonna see what ended up putting me down for the first time. And after watching this thing back, I kind of see what I did wrong. While I was training for the majority of this run counterclockwise, I all of a sudden decided to go the other way and I started going clockwise. So not only did I end up throwing off the direction of the zombies, but the Red Worm did an immediate 180 and I got way too close to him and he ended up slamming the ground twice on me. Definitely not my proudest moment, but this is one of the reasons why we bring in at least a few self-revives when we're doing this thing. Myself for this run, I only brought in 2 and we ended up using both of them. And at the end of this match, I was absolutely fearing for my life, guys. Oh, and if he ends up picking you up in his mouth and spitting you out, and if your camera's all wonky, like if it's off to the side and tilted, try spinning around like 3 times and that usually straightens out the camera for me. Also, let me know down in the comments who's excited for Rebirth tomorrow. I know nothing was really announced for the launch of Season 3 for Modern Warfare Zombies, which is just the hugest bummer, but me and the boys are definitely really excited to hop back into Rebirth. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of you that probably know I used to make a bunch of Warzone content for this channel as well, but I've kind of shifted over to doing mainly just Zombies content over here because I've noticed that's morely what the audience wants. Don't get me wrong, guys, I absolutely love Zombies. It's always going to be my main game mode. This is always going to be my main channel, and I'm always going to be here. I've been contemplating starting up a second channel just to do some Warzone content because I do kind of miss it. So I guess my question to you guys is, down in the comments section, let me know, should I stick to just strictly Zombies content over here and start a second channel for Warzone content, or would you guys mind if I switched it up a little bit here and there? Now, I'm only talking about like maybe 1 video a week, nothing crazy. Still be trying to keep up with the daily zombie videos here. We do miss a day here and there, but I try to keep up as much as possible. If I do end up missing a day, usually the next day I try to upload 2 videos the next day just to make up for that 1 day that I lost. So now we're at the point in this Red Worm fight where things are gonna start getting a little bit scary. We only have 1 self-revive left, and these wisps and all these zombies are starting to be a pain in my ass. Now, usually it would be nice if we had a regular gun that shoots regular bullets to get rid of these wisps, and I can usually deal without one, because if they're just hitting you with just them, you can usually survive that with no problem. But if you're being hit by a bunch of wisps at the same time and then get beamed by this Red Worm, yeah, I found myself in a dire situation. So here we are, we got no self-revive left. I'm just absolutely fighting for my life. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I might have had to change my pants. Because not only did he end up hitting us again with another slam, he just wasn't able to get us with a second one, but then he also grazed us with that beam, which hurt us quite a bit. When he did hit me with that beam for the very last time, he literally had 0 health left, guys. Like, I would have just been so devastated if I would have went down and lost this, like, right at the very end with him having 0 health. But there it is, guys. There is our final shot, which ends up putting this Red Worm in the grave. I think that while, yes, this Red Worm fight solo is definitely hard, I think some people make it out to be a little bit more difficult than it is. I'd say as long as you guys have the confidence and you have the right stuff to get the job done, while it may not be incredibly easy, it's definitely far from impossible. Now, this Red Worm ended up dropping us a couple self-revives, which we're definitely gonna need, and then once I checked the rift, we ended up getting those Scorcher Case schematics, and then we got another gas mask, which is definitely gonna come in handy. Because now, boys, we're gonna be going into the Dark Aether, and I don't have a Scorcher, so this is gonna be a little bit of a journey to get down there. First of all, we're gonna want to hit this ammo crate before we leave this site, just so we can fill up this gas mask, and then we're gonna pull up our map and look for the other closest ammo crate. We found a Big Bertha to hop in, and then we're gonna be going into the OG Dark Aether. Not only because that was the Dark Aether that I planned on going into for this video originally, but the new Dark Aether is just too far away, and I think we would have ran out of time before we got there. Not only were we already running down on time in the match completely, but I'm also running out of time for these gas masks. And since I knew this was the last ammo crate on my way over to the Dark Aether, I was starting to sweat a little bit. We got back in our truck and headed over there, and then once we got there, I started to remember, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to search around for where to put this thing. So when we arrived there, I swam across to the little island, and that's when the panic started to set in just a little bit, because I only had 2 bars left on this golden gas mask, and I saw where to put the sigil for a second, and it disappeared. So I'm strafing to side, just trying to figure out where the hell to put this thing, and eventually I noticed that my gold gas mask is just about to break, so I switched it out for the regular one that I had stashed in my backpack. Thank God this isn't like Warzone where the gas masks are gonna break while they're in your backpack with the one that you're wearing. And at this point, there was a bunch of lightning bolts that were going around me, and all it would take is one of these things to hit me, put me down, and it would just be all over. After fumbling around for what felt like a good minute, I was finally able to find the hole, and I was like, damn, I've been here before. With our successful solo red worm run, and now we came over here to the Elder Dark Aether, and it was a pretty stressful journey just to get over here as well. What's about to happen inside this Elder Dark Aether will actually shock you guys. Be sure to check out the next video. It's going to be going up in just a couple of hours. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next one.